Hello there. Today we are going to build a Todo App with Datastar. What can you do with this Todo App? Everything that you would expect. Check and check stuff. Edit stuff. No problem. Delete stuff. No problem. Of course, add some items to the to-do. And we also have a nice history feature where we can go back in time in our to-do to resume working thanks to CQRS, but this is for later in the video. Let's see the code. Starting with the imports, we are using Quart for the backend. Use whatever you want. We are using the Datastar SDK, and a new feature is the TinyDB library. This is a simple library to store data in a JSON file. Not much to it. We start to initialize the application and the database this way, creating a dedicated table. This is a surprise for later. Before every request, we make sure we have the right information in the cookies. So the user ID, where is the user's database, at what point of his history is he in, and we start with a simple render template for the index.html, the main page. The main page is really simple. We load the CSS, we load Datastar, we are on version beta 11 for now. We load some icons from Google, and we use a main with a div and a data onload get to do. Two reasons why. First, if we see stuff, that means that Datastar was loaded, executed the data onload request, and so that's a good sign to make sure we wait for the Datastar library to be here. Second reason is that we are going to call this route a lot to render the view based on the state, and we will merge the main element thanks to Datastar. So, what is in this to-do route? We start by taking the ID of the database, the things we need, and we use the tasks of the user to build the good HTML. We start by a to-do head with the buttons to go back or forward in time. You see it's simple data on click and a route to modify the state. And then we use an icon from Google. After that, we are going to add the tasks. So we retrieved them here. And for every task, we are going to build a div with the interactivity in it. Now, how many signals do you think are used in this to-do app? And the answer, my bad, the answer is n. we are going to use a signal for every div to know if it is being edited or not. This is an information that we don't want to store on the backend, so we use it with a signal for some front-end reactivity. Every other action, like checking an element, we want to keep that in the backend, so no signals, just actions, simple data on calls, and then based on the state we render the view and the main element. Maybe we can inspect one of these to see what is happening. And you see here that, for example, when I uncheck this, the span changed. The span itself, just it, changed. And I returned the whole main element, mind you. But thanks to idiomorph, we can just very easily, Datastar handle it. Just change the span when I edit. It's in this div, and you see we have two elements with a data show. The first one is task0.editing. You can namespace your signals. We are going to use task 0, task 1, task 2, task 3, so it's really useful. And the second one is data show task 0 editing. So either this boolean is true or false, one of these two will show. Back to the code. To create this, we are starting with a simple div in which we declare the signal that we need. So task and dot editing, and we start at false. Then for the check uncheck, it is very simple. You just have to use an f string, and if task is checked, put some stuff. If the task isn't checked, put some other stuff with other behavior. You see we called another route with another icon as well. Checked circle or unchecked circle. This is absolutely fine and working. And there is no optimistic update. We are checking if the server knows that the task is checked, return this HTML or this HTML. Really, really simple stuff. Now, for the editing, what we are going to do, we saw the trick with one data show and another data show. Now, here is something new. We are going to use for the edit form, a form with Datastar. How do we do it? Really easy. You declare your form and you use data on submit, which is the usual element for forms. So on submit we post to some route with the ID of the task. Very stateless, we just put the ID in the URL. You need to add content type form so that Datastar will grab the value of the inputs in the form. So in this case, the value is whatever is put in the input at editing, and we initialize it with what we know was there in the first place, so task content. And afterward, a simple button, just like in a simple form, to submit this value. We go take a look at the edit route. Content equal await request.form.get content. We go to check the database and we put information in the database. We also restore history because a new action was done. And afterwards, return await to do. Because in the to-do route, we are building the HTML based on what we know, based on the tasks that are stored in the data file. We just need to call the same route every time. Really easy, so far so good. To delete something, the simplest stuff you can think of, data on click, add get, delete task ID. For adding stuff, I used a bit of a trick. So the answer of the signals, there are n+1 signals because I use one there. I just use input element and I use data bind to a signal that I call add, and on blur, mean when the input loses focus, I post to add, and because when you do a post request, all the signals are sent. Let me show you this. In the request JSON body, I just retrieve it. So here you have a way to send with a form. Very nice and academic. This is a quick and dirty way to send the value of an input to your backend. After the HTML has been completed, we merge it. That's all there is to it. Really, really simple. And you get a lot of reactivity. Really nice UX just with that. Look how little the DOM changes, how smooth the morph is. Lovely. Now, how do we get our history feature? We don't let the user touch the database. This is something we talk about in the chess video. What we do, we just register the actions of the user. We don't let him touch the database, we register his actions, and then we rebuild the state based on what we know. Here you can see all the actions that I took from the beginning of the video. Feed the cat is the default value I add for every new user. I deleted it. Then afterwards I added some stuff to prepare the video. Then I show you that I can check or uncheck some stuff with the ID of the task, and you can see that every action so far has been put in the database and nothing else. Now this is really good because you get the history for free. If you want the previous step, you just stop reading the data at the n-1 step and build the state from this. And this is also really good because nobody can really mess up with your database. You just log the actions and then you decide what to do. This is what we did in this method at the beginning. CQRS, content, responsibility, query, system, something. For every action, we rebuild the state. Really simple stuff. If we see add something in the actions, we add it. If we see delete, we delete it. If we check, uncheck, we check, uncheck. Stuff like that. Really, really simple. And that's how in a few lines and a few routes, you get a nice to-do app, fully featured. I mean, it's a to-do app. Not really black magic, but it is a nice example. There used to be one on the front page of Datastar, but it had to be taken down because of success. So let's hope it is back again soon. In the meantime, go build your own. A fun project. You can approach it however you like. You see the HTML is really simple. The CSS, you can check it because I always put the code in the description. Go look at it. Yes. Also, somebody commented, stop putting music on the videos. And comments are good for referencing, so thank you. We'll still put music in the hope that more people comment. See you next time for a new video. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. And see you soon.